Good evening. My name is Howard Wooden. I'm the moderator for tonight's Ward 8 Burlington School District election. We have two great gentlemen here. It's my pleasure to introduce you to Aden Haji and Keith Pillsbury. Now, you guys are from Ward 8. Maybe for people, just so they know, where is Ward 8? Keith, where is Ward 8 in terms of the city?
It starts at Redstone Campus. Goes through the MAT and Harris Millis and Living Learning, goes down my street, University Terrace, down Main Street on the north side, College Street on the south side, and it goes all the way down to South Willard. Then on the west side goes along South Willard from Main to Pearl Street, and from there down to South Weduskie Avenue.
Okay.
It's a little bit of a strange little thing. I think the intent was that this would be a majority student ward, and it is a majority student ward.
Yeah. So I want to give you guys a chance to introduce yourself to the public a little bit. Aden, why don't you take a couple minutes and just tell people why you're running and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, definitely. Yeah, my name is Aden Haji, and thanks again for having me here. I'm really excited to run for school board because I believe in the importance of community building processes on the school board level. So in terms of just having community members be at the decision-making process. And also something that's really important to me is making sure that new American communities have the access to be able to have the resources they need to know about what their children are going through school. And I feel like living in Burlington for about 17 years now, there's been a disconnect between that. We have been making efforts, but there's a lot of potential to be able to do that, you know. So I've been a community organizer since high school, so I've been able to understand some of the issues that students are going through.
Did you go to Burlington High School?
Yeah, I also went to Burlington High School myself, and I went to Edmonds as well as IAA. So being able to go through the Burlington School District has given me a perspective that I think could really benefit me on the school board.
That's great.
So,
yeah. Keith, tell us about yourself and why you're running.
Well, first of all, I'm very proud as a school board member that one of our graduates through our system and graduated from UVM is part of this democratic process. Ward 8 has a democracy where we have competition both in city council and school board. My wife and I moved into Ward 8 in 1974. We bought a house one of the few houses that we could afford at the time, and we have lived there since 1974. We raised two children. They walked to Edmonds Elementary School, went to Edmonds Middle School, then to Burlington High School. Oftentimes they didn't walk, they took the bus, or they got a ride with somebody, and they have graduated from universities out of state. You couldn't get them to go to UVM because it's too close. Basically, when my daughter started first grade, there were 27 in her class, and I said, that's not a good way to start off education. There was no public full-time kindergarten at the time, so that's kind of when I got involved, and I've been on the board for 25 years, but I have taken some time off. It's not my life. I took 4 years off to help my children as they needed to be transported through high school events, and then 4 years from 2014 to 2018. So that's, I just have a passion for public education.
Yeah. Well, the thing that I want to, we're going to talk about a number of the issues that are current with the school board and going through it, but I want to also tell our viewers that if you want to call in, there is a number you can call, and we'd love to have your questions. Please call in because these folks want to answer your questions. The number is 862-3966. And this is Town Meeting Television, so you'll be able to find all of these things on our website, which is ch17.org. Let me start with you, Keith, a little bit. So in terms of the current issues, what do you see as the biggest burning issue right now that you think the school board is right now addressing?
Well, if I could just say the big picture.
Yeah, the big
it's
picture
It's
thing.
relationships.
Okay.
We are the world in our schools. We have economic diversity, wide ranges in families, various types of families. We have different cultures. We have different races. We have different religions. We are basically the world. And then we know in our world we have a lot of conflicts. So in our school system, our job is to make sure that our children, all of our children, get the opportunities to learn as best they can in a way that really relates, that they can relate to. And I think, so our issue is, it's a constant, it's not like it's a work in progress. It's not like something you solve, because every year we get a new group of students. And so I think our major issue is finding out a way, or is working on ways to have our children be able to be in a classroom, be in a school, working together, and understanding each other is different, and being able to relate and respect that difference, even if you disagree, but being respectful to one another. I think that is one of the things that we, as a board, constantly have on our mind. Of course, there's the infrastructure problems and all the other problems, but the bottom line is we have to have a school system in Burlington that works for all of our families and all of our children. And
That's great. It's Aden, right?
Aden, yeah.
Aden. Why did, what's the issue or the issues for you that say you really want to get involved with this school board? What is it that you really want to kind of take on here?
Yeah, most of the issues came from my experience since being in Burlington High School, and a lot of it was that I never really understood what school board was until after graduation, and it seemed like there has been a couple of school board representatives that are high schoolers, but I feel like even then that wasn't
These
enough
were
to be able
representatives
to-
on the board, right?
Yeah, and Burlington is a very diverse place, like Keith just expressed, and I feel like it'll be more better for it to be also reflected on the school board level too, because different students live different realities, and each reality needs to be at least considered from that perspective. So my family comes from a Somali Bantu community, and I've been fortunate to be able to understand how to navigate through, assisting different communities through my organizing work at the Boys and Girls Club, as well as Spectrum, and just community organizations around the area. And I also want to help to continue developing strong connections with the school, community, and families, because I feel like that's the three aspects that really are centered around student success.
So much of what the board does is they basically just work on policies that the school has to run by and on budgets. And have you been able to study kind of the policies, or are there policy changes, or are things you'd like to work on? And what about the budget of the school board itself? What do you think about those?
At the moment, I've had a little bit of time to research the budget, and but I don't have a stance on it at the moment, and I plan to do more research on it and dive myself into the policies a lot more. Right now, one of my main concerns is just trying to branch out and expand, opportunities for different communities in the Burlington district, because we are one of the most diverse cities in Vermont, and I want to make sure that it's reflected as we say that it is.
So Keith, as someone that has a rich history behind with policies and budgets, what do you think about the current state of both of those?
those are big questions. If you take
They are.
policies, which is one of our major responsibilities, according to the Department of Justice and and its Civil Rights Division, we have our policies of where they're supposed to be. Our problem is implementing and getting the training done.
Right.
And part of that, I believe, and this is my opinion, is that we've had quite a changeover in administration and teachers in the last 4 years. So it's hard to train somebody than have them go. And so we have the right policies in place, but you're always looking. I'm not saying that they don't change, depending on the needs of and legal needs and the needs of our students. But the major issue we have now is training, is making sure that we're keeping our staff, our employees, trained to be able to implement the different policies we have regarding way we deal with discrimination issues.
Gotcha.
Discrimination
Yep.
for race, but also for sex, for religious discrimination, all of those issues, how they go about investigating that. That is one of our major, I think, issues that we're going to be, the board, our future board is going to be needing to make sure that that happens, the training. And that has to do with hiring the proper people and making sure they get trained and they're able to train the people that work for them. As far as the budget goes, it's a budget that is just a little bit over 3% increase from last year.
Yep.
Okay, so if I look at when I figured out my annual budget, I'm retired. That's sort of in the area that my budget is the cost going up, and the major reason for that 3% increase is a 13% increase in health care.
Yeah.
But you know that affects that. Everybody is affected by that, so that's health care benefits for all of our employees. It also is the cost of students, the cost that go up for special education, and that is one of those guesses because you never know which students are coming into your program that you need support. But we put a guesstimate there, and so it's wages, special education, health care, and starting to pay back the we put a bond out for our high school,
Right.
and we have a 10-year capital plan.
Right.
We're paying interest on those starting. So that's your 3%. And so the budget's not what I wanted it to be. I had proposed some further reductions, but it's a consensus of all the representatives of the community, so I will be going along with it. We basically cut a little bit over $1 million from the proposed, and we added about $360,000 that we could come to a consensus about, which were services to students, making sure that they got more help. Okay.
And where do you want to, I'm going to start with you, Keith. Now, where do you see the needs right now for the Burlington School District? As a board member, what's coming down the line for citizens and students and the district and those things? What can we expect to be coming?
Well, remember, this is there are different pockets here I'm going
Right.
to talk about. And these are not necessarily my priorities. But
Right.
the first thing, I've been focused this year because I'm on finance and facilities, on the high school project and the 10-year project. And so we have some major renovation work to do with these old buildings because we really didn't do the preventative maintenance, the keeping up with the maintenance that needed to be done in the past. Basically because it was very hard to get the taxes passed, which is one thing that has happened with the new state funding of education. We've been able to do that. So we have a little bit, so we've focused on taking care of our I suspect our most needy building, the Burlington High School. But then Edmonds is
Right.
over 100 years, Edmonds Middle School is over 100 years old. My father graduated from that school in 1936. So we're going to fix the heating and the air vent. But I could go on, and we have a preschool project. Okay, that's one area. The other area is in curriculum and making sure that all of our students have opportunities that allow them to learn in a way that they learn. So alternative pathways to learning is something that we need to be able to encourage more of our students to get involved with that, so that, because we don't all learn the same way. Our students don't all learn a certain way, but they need to be respected in the way. And so I think supporting alternative ways to present information. City and Lake is one example of an alternative program. Horizons is another example of an alternative program. We gave support to other students. I made the motion 2 nights ago to take a contract out with the Stern Center to help students who were having issues in learning and with social emotional issues and just learning issues, and so they didn't really want to come to school. Well, our job is to get them to want to be in school or be able to learn. So we are having the help that the Stern Center help us with that using Medicare, not out of the taxpayers fund, but Medicare reimbursement funds. So that's another element. Okay, and I could go on.
Yeah, you haven't been on the board, so you don't have the necessarily the experience. But where would you like to see? What do you, from your standpoint, what do you want to see the school board and the district and the schools go? Where do you see it going if you could get onto the board here?
Yeah, I would echo some of the points that Keith made in terms of helping to find alternative paths for students. I also feel like that's very important. And I say that because most of the time we tell students to go to college, but college is not always the case. So I really want to spend some time with the juniors and seniors in the high schools, helping them to find a trajectory that fits best for their experience and their skills, not just throwing them out in college and then having to experience like all that student debt for no reason, So some students, they do well in technical trade. So if we are able to expand awareness of some opportunities like Youth Build and other programs that are specifically there for technical trade jobs, then I think that'll be really valuable.
Expansion of those types of programs and various things that go that way.
Yeah,
that's good. So is Burlington school population going up or down? Does anyone? What's the trend here? I just put it out there to either one of you.
I can tell you that this year it went up. Last year it was 3,430. This year,
full population. Wow.
These are the number of students, people, number of bodies. Okay, 3,430. This year it's 3,565. So it's just a little bit over 120.
And are there projections for more kids coming in?
We you know what, those projections are not something that you can really rely on.
You can't count on them.
We don't. A lot of it has to do with the refugee resettlement program. A lot of it has to do with affordable housing. We have a lot of people that would like to live in Burlington, young couples. I hope you're going to stay in Burlington and have a family, but it's hard for people Aden's age to stay in Burlington, to live here with the high rents and to buy property where they can have a family. So I don't know what's going to happen, and I'm hoping the city will deal with its affordable housing issues because it will have an impact, I believe, on the student population.
I mean, it's not hard. It's just like some of the systematic things that are put in place that makes it harder, for people of color in general to be able to move forward.
To move into the community and to stay here in the community, that type of thing.
Yeah. And especially newcomers from different countries, they're already expected to, understand a new world. So it's already hard for them to navigate. But being able to communicate with the schools makes it a lot tougher. That's why I'm also advocating for the multicultural liaisons in the schools, which is people that are doing some amazing work, and I want to be able to advocate and appreciate them for the hard work that they do. Because it's really hard being able to speak multiple languages and also help guide a student navigating through family and school. So,
if you get onto the board, but you know, the hypothetical, Keith, if you were to be elected to the board, what would you want to learn about? What would you immediately say, I need training, or I need, what information would you want to have as a board, as a brand new board member to get you going?
I would definitely do some research on some of the policies that are put into place citywide as well as statewide as well in terms of education, because it all affects, you know, the local scene as well. So just being able to understand some of the policies that are out there and being able to speak with folks that have experience having gone through, you know, learning about these policies, like Keith as well. I hope to connect with him more and see what kind of things.
If you were going to advise him, if he, what would you tell him he needs to do right away, Keith?
Wow.
Because he has a lot, 20 years worth of
Yes,
experience.
I just have to say that you have to take it. You have to take. I feel like my last I've been on for a while, but my last 2 years have been listening and learning.
No, so
And,
even now you're still learning quite a
yes,
bit. Yeah.
because you know with the changes,
Yeah.
it's not something it's not something that stays static. You also have to figure out who are the people you can trust with the accurate information. Develop your networks for getting real information.
In
You know,
touch with
you
the
don't.
school board.
You can't. Yeah, you can't always rely that you're going to get the information that you want from the administration. You know, they'll give you information, but we seem to be having an issue now with data, getting information. So
Accurate data.
Yeah, well, I'm not saying accurate. I'm just saying enough data to make
Enough
these
data, wow.
to make the decisions. So what I am saying is that you know, finding out parents, staff members, community, you know, people that can give you some people tell you information that's not, you have to be careful who you trust. That's the biggest thing. I just wanted to say, first of all, he's absolutely right about technical education, because we have really not, I think, done the job that we need to do in advertising our programs, our excellent programs at our high school. And I just wanted to say that, again, taking an interest in if you're really interested in that area, get into that and be an advocate on the board, because there's so many people that say to me in the community, if we could only get Berlin High School students who come from the tech center, you know. I just wanted to say one thing though, before I go on. When I left the board in 2013, I just realized we had 400 more students in our system than we do now.
So it's gone down.
So it's
since
going
then.
down, even though it went up a bit this
Right.
year. So I do ask that question.
yeah.
We don't know.
Right.
And it could be because, you know, whatever. I'm not going to make there's all kinds of guesses you can make, but I think. You know, Aden is a product of a school system. He knows what we tried to do. You know, when we had populations that were coming in speaking, you know, 40, 45 different languages, we had to hire the staff and the liaisons and all of the people to be able to make sure that they could be successful. And that's the kind of thing you do.
We've got a couple minutes left. Believe me, this went quick.
Wow.
So I want to leave you both with a minute or so here that you can tell the voters, you know, your last statement here, what you want them to remember from you and why they should vote for you. So why don't you start, Aden?
All right. Again, I'm really glad to be here. You know, I'm just really passionate about education. It's been a huge part of my life. And I'm a recent UVM graduate, and Ward 8 is mostly college students, you know, so I'm hoping that with that connection, I'll be able to connect with those, with that demographic on March 3rd. So it's going to be at the Fletcher Free Library. Bring all your friends. If anybody needs to register, let us know. We'll get them registered ballots. So yeah, we're just really excited to be able to, work together for the future of our kids, because it really is our city, and we need to be doing everything we can to make sure that each kid is successful in our schools, because public education is a basic human right. That's what I believe.
I agree. Keith?
I'm also a UVM graduate.
Yeah.
So is my wife. That's interesting. Basically, I feel like I have learned some things this past 2 years about finance and the Burlington High School project and the 10-year capital plan and negotiating with the teachers, that I can use that knowledge and information that I learned to be a more effective school board member in the next 2 years. I love public education. We love Burlington. We want Burlington to be a successful, vibrant city, and I think our schools, should work for everyone, are the way we attract new people into Burlington. And I would appreciate your support.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. I just want to remind people that this is Town Meeting Television and Channel 17. You can find this program online at ch17.org. And I want to thank Keith Pillsbury and Aden Haji. And more importantly than anything, get out and vote. Who you vote for, just get out there and vote. And thank you so much for joining us tonight.